Okay, so welcome along to today's class, our Staying Well While Staying Home series, a collaboration between Siel, Bleu Ireland and the Irish Cancer Society. So my name is Shane. I've been bringing us through these workouts last number of weeks or months at this stage. So usual things just to check in before we begin. I have a nice clear space to work out in. We will move around a little bit within the session. I have a good strong chair that we can use. I have a drink of water at the ready, and I have a window open just out of shot there. Also important that we have some kind of a weight. If you don't have any dumbbells, you can use bottle of water, tins, anything at all that can give you a little bit of extra resistance. Finally then, what I'll always say is just ensure you're working. We will work hard and hopefully with a good challenge in the session, but you have to work out at where you're currently at. So if you're just kind of building yourself back into exercise, just ease your way in. Or maybe if you've been along this journey from the start, we're progressing things as we go. Main thing is if you feel pain with any movement, immediately stop that exercise and I will give seated adaptation. So for every movement, I will generally lead standing, but I will provide you with an option you can perform from your chair. And while I maybe lead 3 rounds of a circuit, for example, you can perform 1 or 2 rounds, just building up at your own pace and where you're currently at with everything. So that's probably enough for me. Let's just get into it and get moving and get ourselves warmed up. So I'm just going to start off rolling the shoulders back. This is typically where I will start my workout. It's just an area that's typically a little bit tight and a little bit stiff. So we want to slowly open up the body, start gradually bringing that heart rate up and just loosening everything out before we start to work harder in the session. Changing direction, now I'm rolling my shoulders forward in circles. Okay, from here I will just fold the arms and just start lightly raising the arms in front, just up to about shoulder height here, lifting the arms up. Just switching on and connecting with my shoulders here. Keeping the arms elevated now, I will rotate my body to the left and then over to the right. I'm going to keep my hips in a fixed position, just that they're not moving too much. I'm just rotating through the upper body, getting a nice stretch through the back, just slowly opening everything up. And down. And I'll just bring it into a march next. Slowly building up, just warming up, really important before we start to push harder with weights. We'll be working our usual aerobic block of work at the start and then into our strength circuit as well after that. So next movements, pausing the march, hands up, and I want to push straight out from chest. So just pressing away from my chest. So the arms extend straight in front, keeping the hands up, pushing away from my chest, straight out in front. And then down, just returning it back to a march. Again, the main thing is you're active, you're moving, starting to warm up, and that heart rate gradually raising up. And we can then start to work out a little bit harder in our main session. Okay, what I will do next is just lightly begin tapping the heels out in front. And again, that chair is beside me should I need. And then I will return back to a march. Just going to adjust the light here a little bit. Okay, so just the nature of these home workouts, just changing the blind a little bit there, stop some of that sun coming in. Okay, so what I want to do next, again, just return, tapping the heels out. And should any issues come up in the workout, if anything were to happen with the video feed, we will start up a new feed on our YouTube channel. So just in the event touch wood, no issues. But we will set up another stream should anything happen to interrupt our feed. Okay, so next movement, I will turn to my chair and I will just lightly begin extending the legs back. So just tap the toes into the floor, stretching the legs back one at a time. Again, just keeping myself moving and active, just opening everything up. I just slowly feel now that I'm starting to warm up. And then I will just lightly begin curling the legs back one at a time. Again, you can use that chair if you need, maybe you don't need it. Just lightly curling the legs back one at a time. And then again, as I show from the side, just stretching the legs back. Again, I can use that chair if I want. Just stretching the legs back, lightly tapping toes into the floor. And from there again, just bringing it into a full leg curl next. So just lightly curling the legs back one at a time here. Okay, and from that position, again, you might like to hold on to the chair, but just lightly tapping the toes out to the sides. And then one final movement as I warm up here, just lightly bringing the knees up one at a time. I'm not looking for speed here. I'm looking for a little bit of elevation here. Just tie them up as well. So just bringing the knees up. Again, that chair is here to support should you need. Just bringing those knees up nice and high. And return. Okay, so I'm going to bring us into our first aerobic blocking. It is like an extension of our warm-up where we'll be moving, active, working the heart, working the lungs. I will have three movements, one which I lead with the right leg, one which I lead with the left leg, and then a kind of combination. I'm just going to show you the seated variations of the movement first, and then I'm going to begin with the standing versions. Okay, so if you are working in a seated position, very simply, what you will be doing on the first movement is lifting the right knee and just lightly swinging the arms forward and back. So you'll be lifting the right knee, swinging the arms forward and back. You will work through the right leg, and then we will switch to the left leg. So like so, just again, lifting the knee, lightly swinging the arms. And then the third movement will be to tap your foot to the side and just press the arm overhead. And that will just directly mimic what we're doing in the standing position. Okay. However, I'm going to lead the movements in standing, which will be slightly different. All you're going to be doing is walking forward, how it will look. 1, 2, 3. On the third movement, I lift the knee. And then I will walk back. So I will just work through the right leg. I will then work through the left leg. And in standing, the movement will be a half jack. So if we think of a jumping jack broken down, just working through one side, pushing arm overhead, lightly tapping foot to the side. And if overhead is uncomfortable, you'll just push across the body. Okay, so I'm going to start the clock in about 15 seconds here. Making sure blocking as much of that light coming in as I can. So I have a nice clear space to work out in. Think of taking 3 movements forward. So how it looks, leading with right leg. 1, 2, 3. Lift the knee. And then lightly step back. I walk forward, lift the knee, stepping back. Ease your way in. This is just the first round. Just get a feel of the movement. I'll always talk about working at a nice challenging pace, but just get a feel for the movement first. Just ensure that you're comfortable and you're balanced as you perform it. Again, I've suggested there's maybe 3 movements, but that doesn't have to be strict. Just think forward and back, lifting your right knee as you come forward. Upper body stays nice and straight, connecting with that hip as I lift my knee. And back. So now, straight in, leading the movement with your left leg. So how that looks, beginning with left leg and lifting the knee up. So again. Again, just kind of build your way in, ensure you're balanced and comfortable. Maybe on this first round, you're just getting a sense of the movements. If this didn't feel balanced, you might like to just walk forward and back, or you might be performing this from the seated position. So you can make these changes. But as I feel comfortable with the movement, I start to get in the flow now. I might start to move with a little bit more purpose. Again, I can think of 3 movements forward, 3 movements back, or just very simple, walking forward and back, lifting that left knee as you come forward. We don't need to get too technical here. Main thing is you're moving, active, giving yourself a little bit of challenge here. And back. Okay, third final movement, and then we'll repeat the circuit twice more. Our half jack. So right foot, tap to the side, press the arm overhead, and then to the opposite side. So just breaking the movement down, one side of your body at a time. Tap your foot to the side, press the arm overhead. Same movement in seated. Only really adaption, I would say, here. If it feels uncomfortable overhead, you can simply push across the body instead. Okay? You can make that switch should you need, or should the overhead position cause any discomfort. Again, just get a feel for the movement. I want there to be a little bit of challenge, a little bit of coordination involved. And once you are happy with the movements, we will then perform everything at a nice pace where we feel we're active, we feel a challenge, as opposed to going really slow and maybe just going through the motions. We want to feel a little bit of challenge here. And return. So there are the 3 movements. We're going to go straight back in, walking forward, leading with the right leg, lifting the right knee. So let's begin. Again, in the simplest form, walk forward and back, lifting the right knee as you go forward. I like to keep it to around 3 movements. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. But that is not precise. You can just, as I say, think forward and back, lifting that right knee. But this second round, I'm moving with a little bit more purpose in the movements. Maybe I was just finding kind of range, what pace I wanted to work at first time. Now I'm familiar with the movements. I work a little bit harder this round. Important, I have plenty of space. And back. Reset. Now you're leading with the left leg. Let's go straight in. The left leg leads the way. Lifting my left knee. Again, just walking forward and back. Lifting that left knee as you walk forward. Upper body stays straight so that you're not bending as you lift that knee. You're in a nice, strong, upright position. Again, the main thing is you're moving, you're active, giving yourself a little bit of challenge. So I might hear as I talk, maybe a little bit out of puff as I talk, but I can still talk in a full sentence. In no way am I completely breathless, and that is important. Feeling a challenge, but still in control. That you're not completely breathless. You're not pumping sweat. And back, okay? And again, our half jack movement. So jumping jack broken down into 2 parts. So right foot and arm, and then through the left side. And tap your foot out to the side, and just lightly push that arm overhead. Again, you have a sense of the movement, whether it was hard or easy in that first round. So now I'm working maybe with a little bit more intensity and a little bit more purpose on this second round. If this is uncomfortable, you might press across the body instead. Perfectly fine. And in your seated position, you're just mimicking this same action. Last couple of seconds. And down, 1/3 final round. So again, walking forward, let's go straight in, leading with right leg. So I walk forward, lifting right knee, and back. Again, that's like pant as I talk now, because I'm active, I'm moving, and that's what I want. I think if you were on a bike, treadmill, brisk walk, that kind of exertion where you feel challenge, you're active, you're working. We're not trying to go really slow and through the motions. We're trying to move with a little bit of purpose and intensity here. But never to a point where you're completely breathless, or as I say, maybe pumping sweat or in any way uncomfortable. But definitely we want that challenge and work as hard as we comfortably can here. And back. Now, straight in, leading with your left leg. So again, walking forward, lift the left knee, and back. Forward and back, left knee lifts as you come forward. Upper body stays nice and straight, just so you're not bending into that movement. Last couple of times. Okay, final movement. Again, just set myself, right foot and arm. So we'll just get straight in, tapping foot to the side, pressing the arm overhead. Again, simplest adaptation, just if the overhead is uncomfortable, just to push across the body instead. So I know sometimes that overhead position can be difficult, so cross is absolutely fine. Again, I'm active, moving, a nice aerobic challenge, working the heart, working the lungs here. Last couple of seconds. And rest. Okay, so I want you to take a breather, take a drink of water, and we will move into our strength block of work next. Again, just rest, recover, catch your breath, and hopefully felt a good challenge with that. I'm going to lead us into 5 strength exercises. So we're going to work the legs as we always do. We're going to work our upper body with a push-up variation, a wall push-up. We're going to work our shoulders and our arms, and those hips will be active as well. Lots of different elements in here. So I'm just going to set up my timer here. I will explain the first movement. As I say, I will lead all of the exercises in standing, but I will give you the seated options as well. So this first one, what I will do is and work my way up from the bottom. So I'm just going to show you, if you were working out in the seated position, the exercise that you can do. So if seated, elevate the heels, so your heels will be up, and you will extend the right leg, return back to the toes. Extend the right leg, return back. So you're going to keep the heels elevated and just extend the right leg. That will be your first movement, and then you will switch to the left side, corresponding with the standing work. The standing movement today, building on last week and one we've performed before, are split stance, sit to stand, but I'm going to add some weight into the movement if comfortable to do so. So how this will look. I'm sitting in my chair. I will place my left foot in front, as you can see there. The toes of my right foot roughly match up with the heel of the left foot, but they're still separated by space and width, so they're not too narrow. I will hold the two weights by my side, and the action will be to stand up and sit back down. Okay, so that will place the work on my back leg. If that is uncomfortable, so I briefly bring the weights away, you can go for body weight. So you can take away that additional weight and work body weight. And then very simply, if you find there's too much work on that single leg, you will just go for a regular sit to stand. Okay, so the choices are there, and that's what I always want to do. Give you lots of choice, option, variety. Because some of us have been working out for quite a while with these workouts, so I want to ensure that there is challenge and progression there. But you have your seated option, and you can break down the version I showed any way that works best for you. So let's set up whichever version you are working with. But I will lead with my weighted split stance. So I hold my two weights. I place my left foot forward, so toes of right foot match up with heel of left foot, but still separated by space. 3, 2, 1. I will stand up nice and tall, and I will sit back into my chair. Standing up tall, sitting back to my chair. The reason we go for this split stance and why I really like this movement, it's going to put extra work through that back leg. So you might feel your right leg really active here and taking more load in the movement. Pushing the heel of your right foot into the floor as you stand, and then back down. Keeping that upper body straight, just ensure that you're not bending as you lean forwards. Work at a pace that's comfortable for you. No need to rush a movement like this. In terms of breathing, I just lightly exhale as I stand up and inhale as I return back to the seat. We'll work through the last couple of reps here. And down. So I want you to just rest out in that position. We're going to set up for the left side now. So how that looks, bring the feet back. Now place your right foot in front. So the toes of my back left foot match up with the heel of that front right foot. So the work is now through the left leg. Again, I will hold the weights by my side, nice and upright. And we'll begin in 3, 2, 1, and let's start. So I'll stand up nice and tall, sitting right back into the chair. And just the nature of this movement, by putting that load through one leg, I'm always keeping this version as a sit to stand, in that I'll fully set myself back to the seat. Again, simplest change you can make here is to drop the weight. So use no weight and just simply work this position using your body weight. If that still doesn't feel good and you prefer a regular up-down with a normal foot placement, that's fine. And we have that seated leg extension variation, which I showed as well. So we have lots of options, picking what works for you. I lightly exhale as I stand, inhale as I lower. Again, I'm really feeling that left leg. It's hard, it's working, and it's a good challenge. We always want to strengthen those legs in these sessions. Looking at our legs. Sorry if we glitched a little there. and rest. Okay, so excellent start. We can drop the 2 weights down and we will move into our next exercise, a wall push-up. So if you have a wall nearby, great, and we will lead with a wall push-up. If you don't have a wall, you might like to place your chair against or near a wall where it won't move, and you can push the hips back and just go for this position instead. So just lightly pushing against the back of the chair. And in seated, you can just simply push the hands away from chest. But I will lead with our wall push-up. So set up, hands just a little bit wider than shoulder width. I'll stand back, my heels are off the floor, body is straight, lean in, push out. Lean in, push out. Exhale as I press away, inhale as I lower. The further away I stand from the wall, the harder this may be. So I can walk my feet in and keep the heels flat to the floor if I found this hard. So if that was really difficult, I would just simply walk in and work from a closer angle. But for additional challenge, I walk back right until my heels are up off the floor, and I'll just slowly drop in, press out. Think of your body in a straight line, dropping in and then pressing out. Strength through your upper body, your chest and arms, helping out with this movement. Imagine if we were on the floor, that ability of being able to press back up and apply a little bit of power. I'll go one more time and back down. Okay, so next movement, I want to take my 2 weights back. This one very simple in terms of standing or seated. You're going to perform this in the same way. So we'll just lead with the standing demonstration. But if seated, set up exactly the same. I want you to hold the weights out to your side. So just think of a quarter raise here. So a couple of inches out from my hips, maintain that position. And then I will lift my right knee and then my left knee, one at a time. So what this will do is work those arms, shoulders a little bit by holding the weight in this position. I don't want to be relaxed in here. I want to physically hold the weights out. And while keeping a nice, strong upper body position, lifting the knees up one at a time. If this is uncomfortable, drop the weight, hold your chair. So if it felt unbalanced, but I'm not looking for great speed here. I'm looking for a nice, strong lift of the knee, really working through the hip. If you're in the seated position, you're going for this exact movement, but just with that support of your chair. And again, maybe as you start to tire, those weights drop in. So let's try and keep them out, just a couple of inches out from your hips. Last couple of seconds here. And rest down, okay? So if you need to drop the weights, that's okay. I'll just lightly hold on to them and just lightly shake the legs out after that one. So one final movement. This will be an arm curl, regular setup, but we're going to go for a 5-second lowering of the weight. So just for a little bit of extra challenge. So how this looks, again, standing, seated, setup is the same. You will just hold the weights with your palms faced forward, elbows just lightly in front / to the side of my body. Curl the weights up, and now a 5-second descent. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Curl the weights up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's continue on. Okay? I'm not going to count every one. The reason I'm doing this movement, I think this is class 23 for me. So if I was to do the same arm curl every single time, we might just get bored with the movements. If we were in a gym, for example, we could very easily progress the weight, make things harder. Just in these home settings at the moment, it is a little bit more difficult. We have to work with what we have. So simple things like this, just making a movement a little bit harder, and controlling the weight down over the course of 5 seconds, just ensuring that you have that challenge, that progression here, which is what we want. If you need to go at a slightly quicker pace, that's fine, but we're looking for about 5 seconds and pause. Let the weights down. Okay, so just take a little breather. You take a drink of water. So that's your first round finished. Always check in with yourself. How was that? Was that easy, hard? Do I need to change anything? So if, for example, that last one was hard and maybe you just need to go with a regular curl, that's perfectly fine. If everything felt okay, we're just going to go straight in again at that same kind of challenge and effort. And if it felt easy, maybe just moving with a little bit more kind of purpose and intensity this second round. But again, anything that felt painful, uncomfortable, change the movements, maybe seated instead of standing, make any change that you feel necessary. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the start. Just going to set up here. I have my 2 weights. Again, just giving a quick run through. If you are working in the seated position, elevate the heels, extending your right leg first, keeping the heels elevated, keeping a nice tension on the thigh of the leg. So working out the same area that we do with our standing exercise. For those of us standing, we're holding weights. Maybe you're doing this without weight, that's fine. Foot set up, left foot in front. So I think the toes of my right foot match up with the heel of that front left foot, but separated by space and width. Okay, so just going to set up with the clock here. 3, 2, 1, and we'll begin the movement. I stand up nice and tall, sitting back into my chair. I'm holding my 2 weights. If this is uncomfortable, maybe you're performing this as a body weight movement. Very simple, no weight, fold the arms, and that same action. Standing up and down, keeping a nice straight back. Working that back right leg hard in this position. Thinking of pushing the heel of your right foot into the floor as you stand. If you don't like this split stance setup, you can go for a regular up down, and that's no problem. The last couple of repetitions here. Keeping my back nice and straight. And I'll get one more if comfortable to do so. And rest. Okay, rest the position. Foot back. Now I place my right foot in front. So again, the toes of that left foot roughly match up with the heel of the right foot, but still separated by at least hip width apart, maybe even just slightly wider. Holding your weights, and let's begin. We'll work with the clock. So timing in 3, 2, 1, and let's begin. We'll stand up nice and tall, sitting right back into your chair. Maybe a couple of times, if the stance just feels a little bit off, just adjust before the next rep. That's perfectly fine. Sometimes I'll notice that I just need to change it slightly, and that's perfectly fine. My back left leg is doing most of the work in this position. I'm thinking of pushing the heel of that back left foot into the ground as I stand up. Upper body is straight. I'm just careful that I'm not bending that body as I stand. Up and down. Simplest change you will make is to perform this with no weight. You can just fold the arms and up, down. Just using your body weight. Final reps. And rest. Okay, so we'll let the weights down. We will move into our wall push-up. Again, a couple of variations in your seated position. Very simple. Just going to raise the hands up and push nice and strong away from your chest. If you don't have really a suitable enough wall, you'll just put your chair against the solid surface like my wall, small wall here. And I will very simply push the hips back, drop down, straight up. So that same action of pressing, but it'll be important that I push the hips back, keep the body straight. And then finally, as I will lead with hands about chest height, just a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. I'll stand back, my heels elevated, and I'll begin leaning into the wall, push back out. Lean in, push back out. Keeping the body straight. Foot position important. The closer I am to the wall, less tension. The further away I am, the harder this will be. I think of my shoulders and my hips moving together, in that I don't want the hips to sag in or just the shoulders to drop in, working as a unit. Exhale as I press away from the wall. Inhale as I lower. Think no differently to if you were on the floor, that ability to press clean, nice and strong away from the surface. Final reps. And one more. And down. Okay. Next, you'll take the two weights. Again, providing you're happy with that variation. If you're not comfortable, you can perform this without weight. Maybe you need a little bit of chair support just to ensure you're balanced. Seated, your setup is the same. I want you to open the arms out just a quarter of the range, so a couple of inches out from my hips, and maintain that position. Right knee up, left knee up, and I'll continue. Yeah, it's just important, just strong and you're balanced. Keeping those weights out a couple of inches from your hips. Lifting the knees up nice and high. Never rushing this movement. Nice strong lift. Connecting with each hip. Keeping the weights out from your body. Again, as you tire, you might start to notice those weights start to drift in. We're going to work hard just to keep them out. So a little bit of tension up through the arm and shoulder on each side. Simple things can make exercising a lot harder. And down, okay? And rest the arms down. If you need to let the weights down, that's fine. I'll just hold on to them here, shaking the legs out. I'm going to work on the arm curl next. And this is, again, where we lower the weight over the course of 5 seconds, or up to 5 seconds. It doesn't have to be perfectly strict, but just that we're really trying to control the weight for extra challenge today. So, standing or seated position, grasp the weights, palms forward, elbows just slightly resting in front of the body or just into the side here. Curl the weights up, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, down. Curl up, straight line towards shoulders, 5 seconds down. 4, 3, 2, 1. And continue on. So again, I'm not going to count every rep, but I just want you to try and control. And it doesn't have to be perfect 5, as I say, but just that you are consciously controlling that descent of the weight down. So just curl up, regular, up, slow, slow, slow on the way down. As slow as you comfortably can. Again, just curl up, slowly back down. Last couple of times. Might just get 2 more if comfortable to do so. And one last time. and down. Second round finished. Drop your weights down, grab a drink of water, and take some recovery there again. Okay, so 2 rounds of your circuit finished. Again, just check in with your body. How does everything feel? Happy with everything? Comfortable? Or everything, if anything's getting really hard, maybe we just need to slow the pace down in the 3rd round a little bit. But once you're feeling okay with everything, just working with that same good effort and challenge. But if you do feel a little bit tired 3rd round, don't be afraid to make any changes, like just changing the version that maybe you performed in round 1 and 2, maybe just stripping it back a little bit on the 3rd round. If you feel after 2 rounds you've done enough, that's perfectly fine to move into your cool down. You're just building up, and you could return to the workout later in the day, break it up a little bit if you need. But otherwise, let's go straight into 1/3 and final round, and just keeping up that good effort. So, again, just before I start the clock, just taking hold of my 2 weights. Again, just from your seated position, just remembering that you're starting with the heels elevated and extending the right leg, just working through the right leg, keeping the heels elevated as you go. Okay. For those of us standing, as I put the clock on now. Okay. Setup is important. You can do this with or without weight, but I'm using weight. I bring my left foot forward. They're at least hip width apart here at my feet, so they're separated. Toes of the right foot match up with the heel of the left foot. So in 3, 2, 1, I'll begin the exercise. Standing up tall, sitting back to my chair. Just adjust the feet a little bit there if I need to, and that feels more comfortable. Okay, so standing up, sitting back down. Again, the emphasis is on working the back leg. It will work a little bit harder in this position. So I feel my right leg working hard here. One muscle, if we want to work in all of these sessions, it is our quad or our thighs. Really important to build up strength in this position and really be good for our body, building up that strength in our legs. So we'll always have some form of maybe a squat or a lunge for that reason. Again, simple changes you can make. Performing this without weight, just simply using body weight. Maybe a regular stance if the foot positioning just doesn't work for you. And you have that leg extension if in a seated position. And rest, okay? Just rest the weights. Going to set up for the opposite side now. Plenty of time on the clock in between always. Right foot comes forward, still separated by width and space. The back left foot, toes, match up with the front heel of that right foot. Okay? Bring the weights down. Nice and tall. Time us in 3, 2, 1. Let's begin. Stand up tall. Sit back down. Standing up. Sitting back down. And again, now my back left leg is doing all of the work. I'm pushing the heel of that left foot into the floor as I stand. Simplest change you will make here is to drop that weight and just perform this as body weight. You can adjust your feet to a regular stance. And that same up-down action. And we have that seated leg extension. So we have loads of choice. Make this work best for you. Exhale as I stand up. Inhale as I lower back down. Final reps here. And just ensure the movement is controlled. Never rushing this action. No kind of bounce at the bottom. Keeping it nice and controlled as we return down and rest. Okay, drop the weight. Again, your movements next. If in your seated position, hands up and a nice strong press out from chest. Wall isn't just sufficient or suitable. You can place your chair against it, and I could just step back with my hips back, lower down, press up, lower down, press up, keeping a nice straight body as I press. And then finally, as I will lead with, hands just a little wider than shoulder width, chest kind of height. I walk back until my heels are elevated, and I begin. If I don't like this position, I can walk in, keep the feet flat to the floor, and just that same action of lowering and pressing away. But I like to walk it back a little bit, and that just naturally means I will have the heels raised. I lower into the wall, and then a nice strong press away. Slowly lower, press away. Exhale as we press away. Inhale as we lower. Chest active. Might feel back of the arms quite active here as well. Think of your body as one unit. Just ensure that we don't just drop those shoulders or just drop through the hips. Keep the body moving as a nice strong unit here. Final reps. And rest. Walk it in. Next, I'm going to take hold of my 2 weights. Take a drink of water in between if you need. Okay, so I'm holding on to my 2 dumbbells here, and the 2 weights. Just going to hold them a quarter of the range out. So again, a couple of inches out from your body. Standing or seated as the same setup. And let's begin. Right knee, left knee. Just our cautious first couple of lifts. And then I'll continue feeling comfortable, strong and balanced through the position. Right knee, left knee up. Again, just working hard to keep those weights a couple of inches out from the body. Again, as you tire, you'll notice they might start to drop in. We're going to work hard to keep them out. You might feel that bit of work through your arm and your shoulders, as well as working through the hip with that knee lift. Nice and strong throughout the movement. Simple changes. If it's just really getting hard, you can definitely feel this third round is tougher. So if you felt you just had to let the weights down, that's fine. Or you just needed to take that tension off through the shoulders. You can always make these changes if needed. I'm just going to work hard. I'm going to keep those weights out. Lifting the knees up nice and high. And down, okay? Again, maybe just shake the legs out. Drop the weight if you need to, briefly. We're going to work in our arm curl for the final movement today. Just lightly shake those legs out. Okay. Standing seated, your setup will be the same. Let's begin. Palms forward, elbows just to your side or slightly in front of the body. Curl in a straight line up towards shoulders. And then 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. And back down. Curl up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Back down. Continuing on. So again, I'm not going to count everyone. So it does not have to be perfect with a 5. But just you're consciously really controlling, slowing the weights as you lower them back down. Our final exercise today. Again, first to last exercise. If you feel you need a breather at any point, you just simply take that rest. There's no pressure at any point here. We are working hard, giving ourselves a good challenge. Okay, last couple of reps here. And if comfortable to do so, I will perform one last rep. And rest down, okay? Drop those weights down. That is your strength circuit finished. Brilliant work. Hopefully you enjoyed the challenge from that one. And as I said, just picking the levels that feel appropriate and right for you. So in terms of what we worked there, as we always do, we want to work and strengthen those legs in every session. That is one place we always want to build some strength. What else did we have today? We had our push-up, whether you use the wall, seated, looking to strengthen the upper body, areas like your chest, back of the arms. We had that arm curl, so again, upper body strength through the arm. We worked our hip by lifting the knees up, and we had that added challenge of weight bearing out to the side. So again, working a little bit of the arms, shoulders as well there. So all that's left for us now is to cool down, relax the body. You'll even hear as I talk, just that kind of pant. So I want to relax down, bring myself back to a resting level. So I'm just going to start off holding on to the back of the chair, take some pressure off the upper body, and just very light, stretch the legs back, lightly tapping the toes into the floor. What I might do as well, I might add just a nice kind of light mobility movement. So we have a little bit of time here, we're not rushed. So I might add just a nice kind of relaxing mobility movement in here as well into our cool down. But I'm just going to go with a couple of light actions. Think there, we were very active with that aerobic block of work. We were very active with our strength block. So just a couple of nice light flowing movements with the purpose of relaxing your body down. So these are nice light movements. None of these should be particularly hard or difficult. Just nice and light at this point. Okay, from there, I'm just going to open out to the sides. I'm going to check in there. Perfect. Thanks, Mary. Really always appreciate any kind of feedback. It's great to just get a sense if it's a good challenge. I was hoping that would be a good challenge. As I'll always say, some of us have been on this series or journey for a while, so it is important sometimes that I'll add maybe a weight we did last week, like that split stance, that I will lead it with extra weight this week. So it's just ensuring that there is progression there. But as I'll always say, and maybe if this is your first time on the video, there's nothing wrong with choosing some of the other variations. I want to allow plenty of challenge, but equally you can pick the level that's right for you and do a little bit more every week and slowly build up. So it's not that you have to do the one that I show. You have loads of choice to pick the movement that works best for you. That is the main thing. And we're glad you enjoyed that workout. But wherever stage you're at in terms of these videos, hopefully you enjoyed the workout. Next, nice and light, just tapping the heels out. And just beginning now to start to relax. Even as I talk, just a little bit more comfortable. Just nice and light, tapping the heels out. Okay, I'm just going to move up the body a little bit. I might return back to a lower body stretches. And very simple, I'm just going to bring the hands up, push away from your chest. So stretch the arms out in front. Might feel a nice stretch through the upper body here, the back of the upper body. And then I'll pull back, tuck the elbows in, and I get a nice squeeze between the shoulder blades. So again, press forward and hold. Pull back and hold. Push forward and hold. Pull back, hold. Let's go another couple of times. Just a really nice relaxing movement, connecting with your upper body here. And then once more. And down. Okay, from there, just going to open the arms to my side with the palms face forward, because we did work the chest today. It's going to take a nice light stretch. Step forward with your right foot and just lightly pull the arms back. Relax in, and I'll do the same from the opposite. And showing how that looks from the side. As I step forward, I lightly pull the arms back, so my arms are behind the shoulders. That makes sense. And I'm just lightly opening out through my chest here. I'll go One more time. And down. Okay. Just a little bit of time. Let's go a nice shoulder movement. A little bit of mobility, just a nice relaxing exercise. What I want you to do is just rest the knuckles of your hands on your lower back and bring the elbows back. So I don't want to be relaxed in this position. I gently pin the elbows back. What I want to do from this position is open my right arm, turning the palm of the hand as I reach across. Return back in, bringing knuckles onto my lower back. Open out the left arm, turning the hand, and return. Key to this position is that I will keep my elbows back. So if I relax in this position, I kind of switch off that connection. But if I keep the elbows lightly pinned back, I will keep that movement through my shoulder. I'm just going to turn back. Just try this one out a couple of times. You can do the two arms together, but I'm just going to build this one up as one at a time. It's just a really nice movement. Just think a little bit of mobility in the shoulders. So maybe if your shoulders are tight, stiff, and this can be a really nice movement. There's other variations of it, so I can try maybe another one or try this one again maybe next week. Just going to go once more in each. And down. Okay, so that might feel a little bit stiff. You might feel it's a bit tight as you perform it, but then afterwards, maybe the shoulders will feel pretty good after a movement like that. So let's just get a rotation next. Again, keep the hips from moving too much, so minimize the movement. Arms by your side, rotate to the left, one in front, one arm behind, and then I'll rotate in the opposite direction. Really nice stretch through the upper body. Just a really simple way of doing it. Just spend a couple of seconds in each position that you've rotated towards. I'm just going to go one more time in each direction. And back down. Okay, so we'll just finish out in a seated position. Just ensure we're fully relaxed. A simple stretch. Really nice for the glutes here. Might feel our hip, and just you can feel really nice on the back as well. Raise the right knee. Gently hold on to that knee, and if comfortable to do so, lightly raise that knee up towards chest or as high as comfortable here. Hold that position. Nice long hold. And then lightly return back down. Just adjust. Raise the left knee. Lightly hold on. Gently raise that knee up towards chest. My hip, I can feel that connection. My glute and my back just feels really nice in this position. Just going to hold for a couple of seconds. And back down. Okay, final action. Breathing. I'll actually show this from the side. It's a really nice postural movement. Rest hands on your legs without going excessive or extreme in the positions. Just lightly relax those shoulders. So I'm not looking to harshly bend, but just gently relax and round the shoulders a little bit. As I draw air in through my nose, I want to puff and rise that chest out. So how this will look. See how my chest rises up, almost to a point where I feel a little squeeze between shoulder blades. Exhale out the mouth and relax, rounding that upper body position gently. So again, inhale, chest opens up. Exhale, relax the upper body position. Inhale, chest opens. Exhale, relax. Two more. Once more. And rest. Okay, so we'll leave it there for today. I'll be back next Wednesday at 10 o'clock. Hopefully you enjoyed the workout. Any questions, don't be afraid to just link in and let me know. So hopefully enjoy that and enjoy the rest of your week. So great work, and thanks very much for tuning in. Great work. Right, well done, Mary. Great stuff there as ever. Well done. No problem. Thanks. Great work. Have a good rest after that.